Hello and welcome to Miniature Realms channel. I'm just about to sit down and do a bit of work on Smaug and record a bit of a video. Now it's actually part 4 in a series I've been doing on Smaug, but the previous 3 parts have actually gone up first a few months ago on my other channel, which is linked to the audio podcast I do for Middle Earth Gaming called Out of the Frying Pan. Links all below, usual stuff. Now, because I intend to repost those 3 videos and then continue the series on both channels simultaneously, I thought I'd just record this little short intro video and let you know why there's branding from another channel all over some of the imagery and stuff on this as well. So enjoy the video. Any questions and comments below. I think the first video is an unboxing, and then it's tools and preparation, and then it's building part 1, and then from building part 2 they will be simultaneously put on both channels. So enjoy the videos, ask any questions, and I'll catch you soon. Hello and welcome to another Out of the Frying Pan podcast YouTube video, the second in my series of Smaug project logs. It's not quite a tutorial video as I mentioned in the last one, but there will be tips along the way for people that haven't handled sort of large kits and definitely large forge rod resin kits. So there'll be snippets of it, but also just here's what I built. What I'm going to do today is start building it. So in the previous video you haven't already seen, I sort of talked through washing the model, preparing the model and what tools I use. And in this first one we're going to sort of start handling the early build stages. I'm not going to build the whole thing in this video at all. I'm going to take a couple of small sections, as we'll see when we go down to the desk in a moment. Right then, so with the Smaug model, the instructions are printed around the edge of the box, which I suppose saves some paper along the packaging maybe somewhere. It's a little bit of a pain if you want to keep the box whole like I have. It's nice to have a little booklet to look at the instructions and things, but anyway, they are what they are. It's quite a simple model in part from its size. So we're going to start with section 1, but I'm not going to start with the head. So I'm going to look at cleaning up the main neck section here, not the small fins for now, the body section, again not the small fins, and the legs without the feet. So I'm going to, you know, it's one of the easiest ways to provide you guys with a little bit of a tip towards controlling the bigger models, which I talked about in the previous videos, including the unboxing. And it's just a good solid place to start at the core of the model. So within section 1, but without putting the little side bits on at the moment. At some point in a future video I might add those bits, or you'll come back and they'll already be glued on. But I just wanted to sort of talk you through the how to handle the larger chunks with the gates and things like that. So that's what we're going to do today. Anyway, I'm going to pop the box under the desk, and then we'll grab the chunks through that I was talking about. And you can see how they go on. It's fairly explanatory. Main legs either side, and you have your neck that fits on that section there. I'm going to need to find the tail section as well, unless that was the tail section. Nope, that's the neck section. So he digs around in the box and makes lots of noise just as we start. There we go. So how much of this I do on camera will depend how bored I get with filming and how much I want to edit. So there will be periods of speeding it up, but I'll definitely make a start. So something you need to be very, very careful with is removing these large gates going into the model. You don't want to damage the model. You don't want to leave so much off here that it takes ages to clean up as well. So I'm going to use a razor saw. Let's find a bit to start with. Where are we going to go with? Let's start with the complicated part here. Now, I'm going to go fairly close. Take it easy, keep checking where it is. There we go. So we saw through that fairly easily. And then I'm going to very gently do that thinner part. I can snap that out the way now because it doesn't matter where it snaps off the gate. Same here. You could use clippers on these, they're small enough parts, but as I've got the saw here, it's actually easier and it means there's less chance of me damaging my clippers. And then for this section, I want to make it as smooth to the front of a bit of model as possible. It's a bit of model that's going to be hidden, but then also it's going to save me on cleaning it up afterwards. I don't know how well this is focusing, but what you can see we're left with is the part that's going to attach to the other main section of the neck, but then also you're left with little bits. Now I've cut it very closely, nice and simple, but I've now got to remove these bits, and that's going to be a matter of hobby knife and file. I'm even going to try just slowly saw that. It will save plenty of time. And I'll grab my hobby blade, and then away from my hands, just take off the little burr that's there. And these are going to be the two areas I've got to be a little bit more careful about cleaning up, and as well as that edge there. Now I can file off these. I'm going to need the hobby blade to take off, so I just do it a little bit at a time. Now, very careful when you're moving the blade towards your finger. I've got my thumb quite low down on the model. Doesn't mean I can't slip. And this is the one that's going to be the most tricky, and it's probably going to be hard for you to see what I'm doing on camera. What I'm doing is I'm going to put the blade in here. I'm going to layer by layer take it away. Unfortunately you won't see that on camera unless I did it towards my body, and I really don't want to do that. And then back the same from the other way. No, fresh blade in. So I'm just scraping away here. It's very hard to get a file in there. I've got small files here. You're not going to get much space to file away, so it'll take a very long time. So the best thing to do is to just slowly take in, slither and slither away with the blade until you have a basic area. I'm going to file down that. Now, first little dry fit. I've not even removed the gate from this yet, but I was going to see how likely we're going to be to get a decent fit. And you know what? It's going to be fine. Which means I don't really need to do any more cleanup on the inside of here. The gap filling is all going to be post gluing on the outside of the model itself. So I'm now going to check the other end of this. Smoothed off there. And then it's what we do with other cleaning up of it. So top here, there is very little, if anything, that needs to be cleaned. And on the bottom side, there is quite a visible seam line all the way down there. So this is where your smaller files come in. And it's not exciting. Just a matter of getting in there with a file and slowly getting on with it. And I'm going to speed this up now because it won't be very interesting to watch. There we are. There's very little cleanup to do on that section at all. That bit's ready to be glued later on. Before I can do that though, I've got to remove the gates on these two sections. And we got to remove the gates of on these legs and clean them up so they can be glued in place there. You can see there's going to be gaps to fill with green stuff, modelling putty, but that will very much be another video. But we'll see how well the gates come off these, and maybe we can get all these sections glued together, and that will be the end of today's progress, at least on camera anyway. All right, let's go to the tail section. I'm just going to be very careful here. I'm going to use the saw very close to the model, so I'm taking it very, very, very slowly. When it's finally cut through, I don't want it slipping onto the main part of the model. The same here as well. I am cutting very close. The real advice will probably be go play safe, go in the middle, and then clip it away and file down. But I'm going to try and save myself some time. There we go. Just gone through there. And the final section, what you've got to bear in mind is where the angle of the model is underneath here, so you can't just go in straight. So I'm going to be very, very careful to go in at a slight angle here, but try not to take any of the edge of the model with me. There we go, big chunky gate off. Let's look what we're left with. Hope this is focusing okay. So again, little bits to remove with the file and the modelling knife. Let's start with the modelling knife first. Again, going away from me. Smooth it off. You can see there I've sliced down and it's less visible. And then time for a file to come out. I'm just going to use a curved edge one here. And then we've got some here as well. A little bit of flash I can remove. And then we've got a bit of where it's attached to the gate. I don't know if I'm using the right words here. I know one of those bits is the gate. I think it's the chunkier bit, but I may be wrong. I'm definitely have no experience in multi-part casting. So maybe someone in the comments, well, it's YouTube, I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me. There we go. So I've done a cursory clean-up of the joint, and before I do any more, I'm just going to see how we're looking in terms of how well it looks like it's going to attach. Right, so that's not going in at all. And here's the reason why. This is going to be more of a challenge. Inside here, you've got lots of excess resin, and that, I believe, is where the mould has torn slightly, removing a previous cast, and that bit of rubber goes with it, which leaves an excess hole, which leaves you with this. So there's two ways around this. So you remove this, so the fit is perfect, or you'd have to file away on that. I'm going to attempt to remove as much of this as I can. I may have to get a Dremel on it. I'll see how well I can go with the blade to start with. This I'll definitely speed up because this is going to be interesting to see. So, made quite a bit of progress just with the blade. You can see this area is now smooth in. Luckily, most of where the excess resin is from where the mould has split was on the edge there. I haven't filed it yet, but was going to see how much progress that's made. Believe it's going to be quite a lot. Yeah, it's going to be enough. You can just be left with your normal gap filling. And if I grab that leg back again, you can see where that's kind of going to go in. You're starting to get an idea of the level of gap filling that's going to need to be done. This is one of the reasons I wanted to work on the core of the model first without the head on, to get these main section of it together. so I can get right into these inner parts and do a good job on the green stuff and let it cure properly, so I can mould it in and file in, etc. What we got there? So we got those two parts on the way. Let's work on the neck. When he says that, I need to remove this mould line along here. So again, it's going to be a speed up job, and I may even, rather than having lots of extra footage to edit, I may well cut this off here and come back to you now when I've removed the gates from all of these and cleaned off the mould lines, because the process is the same as it has been for this part. Okay, so I'll come back to you shortly as we're ready to glue it together. Just wanted to bring you back here. I've cleaned up all the parts, nearly ready to glue back together, or glue together. I just want to draw your attention to another issue that I've already started to work on. So same as with the inside of that part there, we have another mould tear, and this one's a little bit deeper inside. I'm going to have a go at it with the blade now. Speed it up as I do it. Again, it's just a really good example of how, if you're not used to using sort of more tools than just a blade and a normal file, that you could buy a kit like this and find that if that was torn even further, that you just got no way of digging that out safely without a Dremel. I think I might be able to cut it down. I'm just going to repeatedly try to cut down one side, then across to the other. So essentially we're digging through till it comes out flat. If I can't, there's no way that the leg's going to fit in. I think it's this leg. Sorry. You can see that section obviously prevents the leg going in fully. So it has to come out. It is a bit of a pain, and I suppose that's what makes some of these kits more advanced. When the bits are nice and clean, they can be incredibly simple, but when you come across a problem, it can be a little bit harder to deal with than it would be to cut away plastic, because safely carving that away can be tricky if you don't have the right tools. But anyway, I'll probably speed this up. I'll take another little pause now and bring it back when I'm ready to do it. If I am unable to do it with a blade, I may well show you the Dremel and do it that way. So I was very lucky, I was able to do it with the blade. As before, I just repeatedly gently press down, I say gently, actually quite firmly, layer by layer, and carving away. So it's this corner. So you do this method as I'm doing now, and then back the other way until you're basically meeting in the corner, and you end up being able to remove the whole of the section there, and then the leg actually fits in. I didn't save it, there was actually a little bit of blue rubber in there, which I imagine that's the colour of the mould, because that's what was left sort of stuck into the resin. Other than that, the parts are all cleaned, he says, just spotting another little mould line. Cleaned enough, ready to go on. So I think I showed in the first video. Anyway, for any of you watching this and you haven't seen the cleanup video, I've named all the tools that I'm going to be using. I use super glue with activator. This is my preferred brand. That wasn't in stock on Amazon, so got this. It's essentially the same stuff. I just prefer the nozzle on this bottle. Simple as that. So I've worked out from dry fitting that the legs should go on first, and I can get the tail section in. And it's about how snug and whether I should be pinning. I am not going to pin the legs. I'm comfortable with the way they're going to fit in, and I'm making a decision about this and how much space we've got. I think I'm going to risk not pinning it. There's going to be lots of people swearing at this. This is going to very much be a display model. I may use it in a game once for fun, but it's going to be sitting on the shelf. So, and I think that is a large chunk of resin to go inside that chunk of resin, which should hold it quite well. I know a lot of people would pin further, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, that's the decision I make. I may well later on this video, if it falls apart, have to renege on that. But again, this is a project log, not a full-on tutorial. It's a project log with tutorial elements to it. So I may make mistakes along the way and have to go back and change them. But I'm going to get the legs glued in place first. That's what we're going to start with. So I'm going to put some super glue in the hole. Now you could spray activator on this section. It will mean that as soon as I get it in place, it will set very firm. I prefer to hold it in place firmly and then place some activator around it. And my activator is running out already, which is, I knew that was going to happen. That's why I got this one ready. Now, activator evaporates fairly quickly. I'm not going to tug on that. That would come off now, but you're set to the point where you've got some rigidity to it. Now to do the other side, quick dry fit again, so we know which way around it goes. Put a fair amount of glue in the hole, somewhere around the outside joint, and again, in he goes. Now you have to be careful when you're doing a second bit and you've already used activator. There will be remnants of activator still on the model, so your super glue will start to set straight away. You can see it's shiny here. Well, there's activator already on that part, so if I put super glue on this part of the model now to glue the tail on, the super glue will start to set straight away. So I'm going to put it on this end. This shows you how quick activator gets to work. And I'm also quite impatient. I just get on with things. There we go. So we're going to have all this gap filling to do, but we essentially have the main body and the tail there. And we've already dry fitted the front. We know the neck can go on as well. Do I want to glue this on now, or do I want to do the gap filling with the other bits first? No, we'll do it now as well. So glue in that area, glue around the edge. In he goes. Now, as much as the activator's done its job, it'd be very, very easy to pull that apart. It'll take a long time for it to set hard, and I put quite a lot of glue in there. So I really am going to put that aside now and leave it for a good time. I've got other stuff to do, so it'll be left overnight until I next spend some time working on it. So that will be the end of the video today, really. When we come back to the next video, it may be at this stage, there may already be quite a lot of other bits done. And as I said, I'm not going to share you with all parts of the build, but I did want to talk to you all a little bit about how I handle some of the issues you have with these larger resin kits. So using the tools that I mentioned in the introductory video, how to get around some of the problems where you have mold tears and things which prevent you from putting the model together. As much as it was a pain for me, it's actually quite a good example to have. So hopefully those of you who haven't built a model like this before will find that useful. And we'll see where we are. I don't think we'll come back and next time the model will be fully built, but you never know, I might spend an evening, put some music on and just decide to do it. I'm not sure how useful it would be for you guys to see me cleaning up the small parts and putting those on. It's all the same process of us doing the others, just in a smaller scale, and making sure you file it, check, dry fit it to make sure it's going to fit, and then glue in place. So, and I don't want to put those really delicate parts on when I've got the gap filling to do. So I may do a short video of the gap filling because we haven't really covered that. And then once we've done that, we are kind of rinse and repeating really. So I might do a video with a little bit of the green stuffing and how I handle that. But anyway, let's take you back to my face for the end of the video. Well, thank you for making it to the end of another short video. As I said, not too long. I'm not showing you how to build the whole model. I think next time we come back, I may show you a little bit more building. It may be all built. It really depends on how I feel. This is a project for me. It's a personal hobby project. I just wanted to show you little snippets and some tips along the way while I do it and while I log the progress, really. So thank you for watching. If you haven't already, and I've said this many times before, please subscribe to the channel. We're not going to be super regular with videos. It's not something we're going to promise 2 or 3 videos a week. This is a companion to our audio podcast, Out of the Frying Pan. Links to that below. It's everything Middle-earth strategy battle game by Games Workshop and anything related to Lord of the Rings, really. So if you're into that kind of stuff and you've come across this video, please check it out, and I'll catch you soon.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Run! Run!